welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. We're going to look at changing combination. We're going to change combination on the deadbolt and on this Lockwood 001. Not only that, we're going to change this screen door lock, which has a little key like this, and it's been cut at Bunnings. We're going to change that one into the same key. So you'd use one key for this, this and this. So let's get them off the door. There's half we'll be doing. Okay, so it's one off. Two off. These are the really cheap ones. You can tell by the circlip, and the door's obviously too thin, so they've made their own little packing plate there. So all the things we don't need I won't take. We need that, and that, and that. Okay, now we take out the screen door cylinder. Lift up the handle. Rotate, out it comes. Okay, let's change them. Okay, back in the van. So this is what we're working on at the moment. We've got one lock, two locks, and you can tell how cheap and nasty this is. Somebody's actually put electrical tape around it to keep all the pins and springs from flicking out. Really crappy deadlock. And these little horseshoe things, you've got to bend them around. Now with the screen door, this is a screen door cylinder. What we want to do is we want to change it to a full-size standard key. So if we put a whole new cylinder into it, that means that we can use a full-size key on the screen door, the deadbolt and the 001. Looks like this one as well has been drilled out. You can see that brass in there, so we'll have to give that a quick little clean as well. Alright, so let's get started now. So we'll just take off this circlip. Now there is different ways people take off the circlip. I like to do it this way, where you've got the little nipple on this side, using a flat blade, twisting it round, popping out the tailpiece, using the edge on like this, and it's out. Okay, I'm going to use a follower, dumping all the pins. Okay, so now we need our new key, and this one only has one. Yeah, that'll be alright. I'll cut some extra keys anyway. So that's our screen door cylinder already done. It already comes pre-done. Now we've got to find out what the cuts and the pins are on this one. It's like a 5, so I'm going to use my tray here. I like using my tray. It just makes it easier. I don't have to keep flicking back. Once I find it, I can kind of forget it then. Okay, so 2 down. Looks like another 5 actually. Have one here. Actually, I don't think that's a 5. Another 5. Wrong. It's a padlock pin, that one. Okay, so it's a 6. I think we've got a 4. Nope, it's a 3. The reason I put those pins there is just so it makes it a little bit quicker for me later on. Actually, I think the next one is a 2. No, it's a 1. Okay, so now all those pins are flat to the round radius of this plug. So when I take my key out, all the springs and all the pins will fall down, and all the springs will be pushing them down, trapping this chamber from turning, or this barrel. When I put my key in, they'll all lift to the correct height, and then I'll be able to rotate the key. So that's called lock changing. I've changed it from one key now to a new key. So to put this tailpiece back on, I like to do it this way. I like to have the two ends keeping the luck. If it was a horseshoe, it would be keeping the luck from falling out. I like to do it that way, and also if there's a little bit of wood in the door, it doesn't get caught on if you have it down and there's a little bit of wood there, it can actually undo itself, I found. So I like to do it that way. Okay, so that's two down ready to go on the door. Let's do this one here. Now there is a little bit of a trick to doing the 001 inner, and I'll show you. So you undo the screws completely. Undo the screws completely like that. Give it a little squeeze and pick it up as a one piece, because there's a little spring in there. This piece with the triangle goes, with the arrow goes up, so you can pretty much pick it up as a one piece and put it back on as a one piece if you're careful. Right, looks like those pins have never been used, but it doesn't matter. It's just out of me anyway. So I'm just dropping in the new pins now, and as you can see, I can look at the colours and I can fly right through it. No problems. Okay, that's good. Key in, key out, hold the plug. Yep, it's working, I'm happy with that. As I said before, we pick it up as a one piece, make sure the spring's in there. There's a little triangle on that side, that symbols is to tell you the little triangle on this side. Now what I'll do is I'll just get a little pick, I'll push this center down, I'll find the screw hole on one side, do it all the way up, check it's spring loaded, and the spring is sitting properly. Now I'll do the next one. Now I'll tighten them up like cam screws. Okay. Check it. Okay, turns all the way to red, push the button, back to green. Cool. Now these ones here, these crappy little tail pieces, one's off, two's off. Yeah, I hate these locks. I'm actually going to have to put a piece of shim in there. Can't even get the key in. That's how nasty that. I'm going to have to put a piece of shim in there, because if I don't, all the top pins are going to fall into the parts of the chamber which they've removed because they're too cheap and nasty. See that? I had to use a piece of shim to put that there so that the top pins don't fall into this. They probably do it so they make more money, and they also do it because it saves money on material. So it's just like the worst reasons possible, really. If you try and pull your lock apart and it jams up, you're up for a new lock. They make more money. It's a good idea for them, not so good for anybody else who tries to pull a lock apart. Cheap and nasty lock. Not even worth $10. But it's on the door, customer wants it changed, so now here's the thing, I'm going to slide this in along this very fine part here. See this part here? So I'm on a knife's edge right here. If I go the wrong way, this whole lock's going to God. So I've got to see if I can get those top pins to ride right on it, and bang. And there we go. So if I was a little bit too far over the left or too far over the right, it wouldn't have worked. And my lock would have been rubbish. Then I would have had to have replaced it, which is probably not such a bad idea, you know. Probably a good thing. If I was allowed to replace every lock like this that I saw, I would. Let's just get these circlips back on. Really need longer pliers, but anyway. Hang on, what's going on here? Oh, got that on the wrong way. So I'm lifting that up. Now I've got to give it a squeeze to re-bend it back around, because they're not even a key will go in. A bit of a love tap. I won't risk it on getting it out. I'm going to use the shim. Okay, it's out. You can see the amount of corrosion there. That white powder is actually just a bit of corrosion, and that's why the key isn't sliding in and out. And that was on the inside cylinder. So I'll load them all up with graphite actually before I put them back on the door. Make sure I put lots and lots of graphite. I mean, look at that, the pin isn't even sliding. See that? The chamber is not even drilled. So that one's going to be an empty chamber. They can't even drill it the right size. Oh, and they've done the same on that one. Unless we can re-drill them all, that's another option. It is the inside of the deadbolt, but still. Okay, so that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, so we're dropping, because it's the inside of the lock, we're going to drop, no, it's the outside, even worse. So these right here are so corroded the pins aren't even going in them. This is what I mean by crappy lock. No other locks do you have this type of problem with. Just these cheap nasty ones. Alright, so we can't leave pins out, unfortunately. It is not an option. So I'm just going to get my first pin out. Now I'm going to show you. I'll show you what we can do. We've only got 2 pins to find. So why don't we use some thinner pins such as Gainsborough. Gainsborough work really nice. Now unfortunately I'm trying to find a 9, which is a really big one here, so I can get away with that one, and the next one was a 5. Probably get away with a second handy one here. Okay, so they all fit in there nicely, and the key goes in there good. Now these pins are too big, so I'm going to have to file them down. This is called butchering or filing, whatever you want to call it. But on this type of lock, it's not going to do much damage because it's already a piece of whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm just going to basically take them down to level. Now we're using Gainsborough pins because they're thinner. So I always keep all my old Gainsborough pins for locks like these. Locks like these don't deserve a new pin. They deserve to go in the bin. Okay, now a little trick or thing you might not have seen is I use this little Paxson Dremel. What I do is I just give it a light little shave over the top, a little lineage. To make those pins just like they do in China, I pull the key out just a fraction, and I hit it, and it'll rotate and actually create a chamfer all the way around the pin. You just got to get to spin, so it's a bit of a trick, and if you lift the pin up too high they can fall out. So you normally do one at a time. Yeah, it's starting to spin now. See that chamfer? When you buy locks from China, that's the way they come. There you go, what's that? Okay, now have a look at those 2 chamfers on those pins. Very nice. Okay. Bit of the black magic. There we go. So that basically ramps the pins. The reason I ramp the pin is because when it's sliding into the other half of the chamber, most likely it's as inaccurate as you can get. So you want some sort of guidance. It's not improving the security, but it's definitely going to make the lock work a little bit better. And look at that, already the key slides in and turns properly. So we've actually improved the lock. Definitely have improved the lock. We've changed the key and we've improved the lock by putting those ramps on there rather than just putting in the normal pins. Normal pins, tolerances are too tight for this type of ridiculously crappy lock. These way. So that's using Gainsborough pins. I put a bit more graphite in this side, Black Magic as it's known in the trade. Key in and out, just wear that in. Check the old key, no luck. This one here definitely won't work because it's the old key. This is our new key, so that we'll just chuck in the bin. Do a quick little pack up. Now let's go put them back on the door. Okay, back on the door. Let's start with the deadbolt. So we're just going to match up which side was which. This one's got a bit of paint, so we'll put that on the outside, side without the holes. Sometimes one side's rusted and it's always good to put it back the same way you got it off the door. If not, you've got the rusted side on the inside and it looks terrible. Okay, so here is our deadbolt. That's the inside. That's the outside. So now I'm going to rotate these tails towards the hinges and put it back on the door. As you can see, that's taken the left and right position. I'm going to rotate this once again towards the hinges, and then they can't go in like that, so I'm going to rotate this one up. That'll be the top and bottom position. Okay. Just have to check the keys. Oh, wrong key. No, there they are there. Okay, let's check the keys are good. Move that graphite around. So a lot better than it was before. Key goes in there nicely. Unlock it on the inside. Unlock it on the outside. Everything's good, everything's working. Okay, let's put this one in now. Somebody's put the rose in the wrong position, but if I move it now, I'm going to wreck that paintwork. A good locksmith would have the Lockwood and Security centered. Should. This is a Lockwood 001 for the people who don't know. Just making sure I've picked up those threads. Okay. Yeah, looks nice. Putting the key in, rotating it 180. This little nipple goes on this side. Once it's in, rotate it back again, and the key can come out. Okay, 2 screws, and then we put our lock case on. So you put it on, make sure it pushes all the way back, like so. Seen these locks jam up because they haven't pushed them all the way home. 1, 2. Okay, let's test it now. So we're going to double lock this, put it on red. Let's do the screen door as well. Screen door is the easiest one. Okay, lock is pretty old, so lift handle. Test. Okay, something's happening with the screen door. Let's see what. Too far in, too far out. Aha. So when it's pushed all the way in, you can see the gap, so you've got to pull it out a bit. That looks pretty good. Yes, that one's good. This one here. The deadbolt is locked. So unlock the deadbolt, unlock this one, and that should automatically release to green. Okay, so that's changing combination from an old key to a new key. 001 deadbolt and screen door, so they're all matching now. Old key won't work. Most importantly, give the old key back to your customer. You might find it works another door they haven't told you about. If you discard it, chuck it away, you can end up coming back to a job. So always give the old key back to the customer. They can also go up to the lock, put it in, and check for themselves that you've done your right job. Okay, thanks for watching.